My dear children, I welcome you all to the very first online learning module of English for class 7th. There are two books prescribed for class 7th, Gulmohar Language for Life and Grammar Language Skills. Today, in this introductory module, I would discuss in detail the very first lesson of Gulmohar, Language for Life. And the lesson is An Uncomfortable Bed by Guy D. Maupassant. The module consists of the following: about the author, theme, brief introduction, gist of lesson, and worksheet. Let's talk about the author. The author is Guy D. Maupassant. Maupassant was a French writer best known for his short stories. He wrote around 300 short stories along with a few novels and travel books. He was born in France. He generally depicted human lives and destinies and social forces. Some of his notable works include Bol de Souf, The Necklace, Belle Armine, Mont Oriel, and Miss Harriet. Let me now give a brief introduction to An Uncomfortable Bed. It is a short story written in 1883. It was set at a chateau in the French countryside. You must be wondering what a chateau is. Chateau is a large French country house. In those days, dinner parties were more extravagant. There were big furnished rooms with fireplaces. Beds often had heavy curtains. Hunting was common, in which people dressed up in red and took hunting dogs with them. Humor plays a very vital role in this story. Humor is an integral part of Maupassant's An Uncomfortable Bed. The story opens on a chateau in Picardy, which is in France. The author and his friends gather together for hunting season. His friends are very fond of practical jokes. The narrator is suspicious that his friends are up to something. Hour for bedtime arrives. His friends call to him good night. The narrator enters the room with a candle in his hand. And his friends start spying on him. Narrator looks all around, but saw nothing to justify suspicion. An idea came to his head. His candle may suddenly go out and leave him in darkness. He searched for and lighted all the candles in the room. He examined the room, checked the window, the shutters, the curtains, and placed a chair in the middle of the room. He sat on the solid armchair and did not dare to go to bed. He finally came to the conclusion that he was being foolish and decided to go to bed. Bed was suspicious looking. However, The curtains seemed to be secure. He thought of a precaution to ensure his safety. What he did is, he drew the mattress from the bed, followed by the sheet and the rest of the bed clothes. Dragging all these objects into the very middle of the room, he made his bed all over again as well as he could. Slipping under the bedclothes, he extinguished all the candles and fell fast asleep. Suddenly, he was awakened with a start by a heavy body tumbling down right on top of him. He was also sensing a burning liquid on his face, neck, and chest. A dreadful noise, as if a sideboard laden with plates and dishes had fallen down, almost deafened him. He tried to move, but felt a face, a nose, and whiskers. With all his strength, he struck a blow at his face, but received a shower of slaps which made him jump straight out of the soaked sheets. He rushed into the corridor in his nightshirt. It was broad daylight. His friends came running to the spot, and to his surprise, he found a dismayed valet. Children, what is a valet? A valet is a servant. So, the valet was lying on his improvised bed. While bringing him his morning cup of tea, the valet had tripped over the unexpected bed in the middle of the floor and fallen on his stomach, spilling his breakfast all over his face. Narrator had taken so many precautions by closing the shutters and going to sleep in the middle of the room. But those precautions had brought about the practical joke he had been trying to avoid. Oh, how they all laughed that day. Now discuss the theme of the story. Number 1. Pride of the narrator. He is so concerned about outsmarting his friends that he, in effect, outsmarts himself by moving his bed to the middle of the floor and making his rooms dark. Number 2. Appearance versus reality. The narrator is paying close attention to the behavior of his friends, and his interpretations of their good spirits is that they must be up to something. The reality of the situation is not really available to us as readers. Number 3. Paranoia. What is paranoia? If we think about the narrator as someone who is paranoid, then his actions and suspicions take on the character of mental illness. His suspicions cause him to behave in an irrational manner by moving the bed and assaulting the servant. And the last is victimization. The tone of the story is very light-hearted, but there is an edge to it, a sense that perhaps not everything is as happy as the narrator would have us believe. The narrator is self-victimizing. Why else would he prefer to associate only with practical jokers, unless he somehow enjoyed or desired to be the object of such jokes? And with this, we come to the end of the lesson. Dear children, hope you all understood the lesson. Now, here is a worksheet for you which covers the entire lesson. Try to solve them in your registers. In case you have any queries, please feel free to ask your teachers.